God, by an appeal made in the name of God and in his Christ, is the hierarchies of heaven to anchor their energies and their love in order to amplify to levels of almost limitless comprehension the action of the decrees as it is fulfilled in the world of time and space. The giving of each call with fervor and love automatically invokes the energies of the heavenly host on behalf of the decreer and all mankind. In addition, decrees are a definite statement of truth that the mind of the individual may follow to a logical conclusion. And in this case, it is the conclusion of the logos, of the word that is made flesh, by the power of the spoken word, that is, by the power of decrees. By cosmic law, the worded ideas must eventuate in actuality when they are released in the name of God and by the authority of the Christ flame. In giving decrees, the use of the name of God, which was given to Moses as I am that I am, unlocks the power of the Most High for the benefit of the decreer and all who are within his sphere of influence. Thus, the decree is imbued with the power of the word, the spoken word, without which was not anything made that was made. The decree, when given with reverence, becomes a divine fiat rather than mere human wishcraft, or the warring of minds pitted against one another through human witcraft. Mind willing and mental hypnosis practices which border on black magic, dangerous indeed, and which are without the authority of the divine aegis. Some may ask, how is the intent of the divine decree best accomplished? Perhaps by giving the decrees slowly and emphatically at first until the cadences are mastered, thereby permitting the mind to mediate on the beautiful ideas embodied in each word and phrase. Once the mental matrix is absorbed, the heart center can be employed to magnify the concept, and then the feelings can release the charge of divine love, life, and light, which are always invoked by ascended master decrees. The faculties of the mind and heart, especially their ability to magnetize the healing energies of the sacred fire, are developed and expanded through the harmonious use of decrees. The need for this mutuality is expressed in the commandment, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. Decrees are dynamic expression of one's love for the Lord, as that love is released through every aspect and potential of being. The giving of decrees is always to confer a benefit upon self and neighbor. The who is my neighbor aspect has been explained in countless parables and wonderfully inspired writings in which mankind have already indulged themselves for a long time. It has become more general knowledge now that whosoever doeth the will of God is the brother, the sister, the mother of all life, and that all men are brothers under the Father, Mother, God. The tenets of most faiths support the statement, I am my brother's keeper. And this is as it should be, seeing that in reality all life is one. The scientific corollary to this truth is found in the statement of Jesus, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me, unto the Christ identity of all men. Every decree given in the name of the Christ for and on behalf of the least of these, my brethren, blesses the Christ and all mankind who comprise the body of the Lord. Of a truth, whatever blesses one manifestation of the Christ blesses all manifestations of the Christ. When sufficient expansion of consciousness has occurred, when feelings mount up and thoughts are rarefied, and the decree has become a melody within the heart and soul, greater speed can be employed for the raising of the vibrations of one's aura and one's surroundings. The stepping up of vibration should always be governed by the inner voice of the heart and never by the human will or by the spirit of competition. Those who are familiar with the law of rhythm are aware of the fact that there is great power released in any action when many combine their energies and their voices in a dynamic release. We know that the ancient vessels of the Greeks and Romans were driven by oars alternating from one side of their craft to the other in accompaniment to the measured beat of the oar master. Surely the destruction of the walls of Jericho demonstrated the power of rhythmic decrees accompanied by the ritual of circumambulation, mass demonstrations, cheering crowds, the tramp, tramp, tramp of an army, and the beat of the jungle drum are examples of mankind's use and misuse of this science. The rhythm of decrees is extremely important, and patience must be exercised on the part of those who give them more slowly, so that when merging with groups accustomed to a faster pace, they will recognize that a certain momentum has already been built up by those individuals who, through years of application, may have released a greater concentration of energy through their decrees, patterns, and regular invocations. It is to be expected that the speeding up of the release of energy is using these decrees may result in a certain discomfort on the part of one newly sitting in. This is a discomfort which must be borne cheerfully, for until the individual has bridged the gap through rendering his own service of light to life by giving decrees properly in his own home, he must be prepared to follow along with those who have developed greater facility in this art. Yet patience should be exhibited by the more dexterous and facile in tempering the pace at times for the benefit and comfort of the novice. Consider, however, beloved ones, what would happen if you were placed in a symphony orchestra and were asked to play an instrument which you have never played before. If you were expected to play in perfect harmony with that orchestra, you would find it impossible to do so. If you were permitted to remain there, it would be by the grace of the conductor, and you would be expected to practice until you had entered into a state of harmony with the whole rather than expecting the whole to reduce its operations to your own quotient of understanding. I am bringing forth this instruction for the purpose of contacting new students that are being drawn to hierarchy through the Summit Lighthouse, as well as for the enlightenment of those who through the years have doubted at various times the efficacy of decrees. Let me say here, for now and all time to come, preceding the full manifestation of the golden age, that decrees will always remain in a simple and effective method of obtaining great grace from God, assisting in the unwinding of spirals of negation from the human psyche, in the freeing of mankind from the effects of all inept weavings, and in the permanent establishment of a feeling of harmony within each life stream. There are no words which can adequately describe the wonderful feeling of peace, the elation, the freedom, and the bliss which are conferred upon those advanced students who have mastered the technique of giving decrees. Therefore, I, Maitreya, desire to inspire all Shailas of the great ones with a mighty hope concerning your future. If you will give your decrees not only rhythmically but properly, you will then be laying up for yourselves treasures in heaven and making it possible for millions among mankind caught in the riptides of cruel emotions and discordant feelings to escape and find their freedom. With quickening pulse and high hope, these, as escapees across the Berlin Wall, will at last find the longings of their souls satisfied because of the precious offerings of your own heart. Undoubtedly, some by reason of ignorance will disagree with the precepts of the Most High God, and thus certainly with my teaching. Yet I do not choose to address myself to those unwilling to be taught. To those who are willing to accept the great truths of life, I say in the words of the Christ, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. I say to you today, then, it causes you but a little to try to decree properly and faithfully. Therefore, I urge you to try to understand the meaning of decrees and to practice long enough until you become proficient in establishing through decrees the power of God in your own world as most blessed momentum of cosmic virtue. This shall result not only in freedom from fear and attendant worry, but also in the establishment of such a climate of divine love and service as shall give you unlimited happiness in all the days to come. Your transition, whether it be through the veil men call death, or directly into the radiance of your own ascension into higher light, will be effected by greater ease if you hold your attunement high through the power of your decrees. How do decrees compare with prayer? Beloved ones, prayer is wonderful, for through prayer, as communion with God, the grace of the Lord descends upon the supplicant's heart. But for a vital release of power from the Almighty, prayer is not to be compared with the giving of masterful decrees. Prayer based on the fear seems from an era when mankind were not yet able to apprehend the applications of their soul's relationship to their own God identity. The idea of a man groveling before his God comes down from his ancient heritage. The past, woven over and over with the musty odor of human decay, is the record of man's descent from an awareness of immortal selfhood to one of mortal selfhood. The science of the spoken word revealed by the ascended masters restores to mankind in this age the lost art of decreeing which was employed by sons and daughters of God in the early golden ages of Earth's history, which antedate the fall of both Atlantis and Lemuria. The practice of this science provides the way for their return to the original destiny in perfection before the expulsion from paradise. In short, decrees are premised upon the law of perfection and man as the beloved of God, whereas prayer presupposes man in an imperfect state, one of condemnation and confinement. In this day of the ascending Christ consciousness, when the earth is passing through higher initiations, the sincere devotee is also stretching his hands toward the glories of the golden age. The great release that comes from the giving of decrees enables mankind, by the grace of God, to possess a more than ordinary power here and now for his service to the greater light of God and for the bringing in of his kingdom on earth. Invocations and decrees are methods of employing the sacred fire of man's energy on behalf of his own blessed divinity. Will you accept this method of freedom for yourself? Come then as a little child and join your voices with those of heaven's choruses chanting in rhythmic harmony. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.